This week's word of the week is going to be conduit liner. We're continuing on with our MIG gun parts. A lot of times people just call it the liner. The proper term, if you're looking to purchase one, is going to be conduit liner. And what I'll do is I'll show you one right now, the one that I just pulled out of the machine, so you kind of see what it is. And then we'll get back to the board here. This is a conduit liner that I pulled out of a machine. Just kind of coil it up so you can see. And I always compare it to, it looks like a throttle cable would go through it on like a dirt bike or a four-wheeler or some kind of ATV, whatever. That's what it kind of looks like, because that's what your MIG wire is going through. It's going through that and then feeding into the puddle. So that's what a liner looks like, all coiled up there. One for steel or stainless anyways. So we'll get back to the board and keep going over this. So back to the board here, first we got functions. It guides the wire. That's the only thing it does. It just goes from the drive rolls right up to the contact tip, and it feeds the wire, or guides the wire through the gun. So I mean, that's its only function. I tried to think of anything that it does other than guides the wire, but all I can think of is it guides the wire. So functions, guides the wire. Types, there's two different types. The one I just showed you is the coiled steel. By far the most common. The other type is nylon. The coiled steel one is used for steel and stainless. The nylon is used for aluminum. If you put steel through a nylon one, it's just going to chew it up and it's going to be a disaster. If you put aluminum through the coiled steel one, it's going to chew up the wire, and then it's just not going to feed right. It's going to feed horrible. Anybody that tells you that aluminum can go through anything but a nylon liner is lying to you, or doesn't know what they're talking about. It's a disaster if you put an aluminum MIG wire through a coiled steel liner. So remember, coiled steel is going to be for steel, stainless, and nylon is always used when you're MIG welding aluminum. Cost. I didn't look at the cost of the nylon one, I guess I should have, but the coiled steel ones, I looked up a Miller and a Lincoln again. One was 18 bucks and the other one was 16 bucks. So not a real expensive expenditure if you're going to have to buy one, but they're not all that cheap either. So, all right, up here goes the board. Problems. So this is just the many problems that you can have. There's actually quite a few. The liner really should never ever have to be changed unless you do something to it, like running over the forklift, for instance, or if you're running flux cord dust. I got written here. Flux cord wires, when you're running it, if the drive rolls are too tight, what will happen is it'll break the seam on the flux cord wire, and the flux cord dust will get in the liner. So if you start having feedability issues, it's sticking a little bit, and you've had flux cord running in it, you want to pull it out and blow it out. And what I'll do is I'll show you how to pull the liner out here at the end and actually blow it out. I'll show you how to do that, because that's probably the most common problem that you have with a MIG gun liner, is the flux cord dust gets in there and you have to blow it out. It doesn't hurt to blow it out every once in a while anyways, but we'll show you how to do that here at the end. Throw curves down. Curves, if you have your gun and there's curves, if it's in big circles or it's got big sharp bends in it, you'll have feedability issues. You're going to want to straighten that out and make sure there's not a lot of curves in it if you're having feedability issues. That's probably one of the first things you're going to want to do. Look and see if you've got sharp curves in it. Wrong diameter. There's diameters for different diameters of wire. So you're going to have an 035 and an 045 liner. That's what it's going to be for. If you try and put something bigger in there, it's not going to feed right. Put something smaller in there, again, it's not going to feed right. So you got to make sure you have the right diameter. The wrong diameter could be a problem. Kinks, if you bend it real sharp and step on it or something, it can get a kink in the liner. And what that'll do is when the wire is going through that kink, it's dragging and causing feedability issues. Stretched, sometimes they get stretched out. If there's a tinsel pull on it for some reason, for whatever reason, you're trying to pull the machine or something stupid like that, you could actually stretch it out and it'll get gaps in the coil, and that could cause feedability issues. Crush, this is a popular one. This is probably the second most, right behind the flux cord dust. Crush, what does that mean? You're running over the forklift. It's going to crush the actual wire. Or if you drop an anvil on it, something heavy, a big vise, whatever, and it crushes it down, I mean, that won't even feed at all. I mean, you pull the trigger and it won't even move. So if it gets crushed, you're just done. You gotta get a new one. Material, what was I talking about? Oh, we already talked about that. Material, that would be, we came back here to coiled steel versus nylon. If you have aluminum going through this coiled steel, it's just gonna feed like hell. And then what you can do is, aluminum, when it comes out, if there's any little burrs on it, there's an issue there. And that's from catching on that steel. Some push-pull guns have tried to put steel liners in the top of the gun, and it just doesn't work. And if you have problems with that, what you can do is snip off a long nylon one and put it in where they have the coiled steel one, and they'll get rid of that. So let's go out in the lab and we'll show you how to clean out a liner and blow it out if you get the flux core dust. Here we are at the machine. We chose a welder that has a set screw up here in the gun, so it's a little bit more difficult, a little more to it. Take the gas cup off, the gas nozzle, and you unscrew. This one's got a compression fitting, so you take your insulator off, and then I'll zoom in here and show you there's a set screw that you have to take off right here that holds the liner, and if you don't take that set screw out, you're going to be pulling on the liner on the other end and nothing's going to happen. So I'll zoom in and show you where that set screw is. I took out the set screw, and you can see, looking through that little threaded hole, you can actually see the liner there. So if you forget to take out that set screw, you're screwed. It's not going to come out. Now what we're going to do now is go to the machine and show you how to take it out of the machine. I usually take the gun right out. It just seems easier that way. So we'll take the gun right out, and then we'll start pulling this liner out. If you're pulling the liner out and it's not coming, chances are you got a set screw. You want to make sure that you don't have a set screw up on the top end or the gun end that you need to take out. So let's take a look at in the machine here real quick. This is the setup on the inside of the machine. And one thing you got to remember is you got to get that wire out of there. So the wire needs to be snipped at the gun and then rolled back up on this drive roll here. You got to get that wire out of there. Once we do that, all that you have to do to get the gun out is this knob right here, the bigger aluminum one there. You just turn that, loosen it up, and it's going to take the gun out. And then there's the electrical part. You can't really see it. The cord's going up there. Let me try and get a better look at the electrical portion of this. Alright, the electrical portion is this right here. Just unscrews. So you unscrew that. This was the knob I was talking about. So you turn it like this. That loosens it up. You can take it right out, really, but we're going to leave it, well, take it right out. So you take that out, you know it's out then, it's rolling under the machine, but this is the electrical part. You unscrew this. That's the electrical part. You can see it's got little nubs to line up when you put it back in. But that gun should pull right out, but I still have the wire to take out. So I'll take the wire out, and then we'll try and pull the gun out the front. Alright, I snipped the wire at the contact tip or the gun. So now you just loosen up these drive rolls. Come on. Then you can wind this back up. I mean, you can snip it back here in front of the spool, but why waste the wire? You know what I mean? Just takes 2 seconds. Okay, maybe 5. Okay, maybe 10. Don't lose it when it comes through here, or else you'll have a mess. So there it is. So I'm just going to take this wire, put it through this hole here. Alright, now we're ready to pull the gun out. We got the wire out. We got the knob all the way out. We got the electrical portion pulled out. Just give it a tug, and it's out. Alright, we'll show you this end of things now. This is the machine end of the gun. I'm going to zoom in here and try and get the second set screw you got to take out. Doesn't get blurry on me. I'm getting greedy. I'm going to stop right there. Alright, so this is the second set screw you got to take out. I think every gun I've ever seen has at least a set screw in here. There might not be one in the gun, but there's definitely going to be one right here. this right here is the beginning of the liner. So you're going to pull this out to get the liner out. But we're going to undo this set screw, and then we're going to pull this to get the liner out. Hopefully that all makes sense. On to the next step here. Now what we're doing here is just undoing the set screw. I wasn't going to put it on here, but I thought, well, why not? I'm sure everybody's seen a set screw come out before, but we're going to show it anyways. It was a 5/64 standard Allen wrench to take it out, because this thing was made in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm going to leave it in just so we don't lose it. So now we're ready to pull the liner out. Now when you're pulling the liner out, you can see I got the gun over there on the ground, and it's going up, and it's fairly straight. You want to make sure that you got it straightened out as much as possible, otherwise it won't pull out all that easy. These tend to pull a little harder in the beginning, so we'll go ahead and pull it now. So I just grabbed some MIG pliers, grab a hold of this liner, and break it. Awesome. Barely pulled it too. Well, we're going to need a new one now, so let's go ahead and pull this out. You pull kind of heavy in the beginning. Once they start, they go. Can't believe that just happened. Alright. We'll find a new one. Now when you're trying to blow this out, I got it just stuck in the end of a gun right there. You again want to make this really straight, or else the air's not going to go through. Especially if it's clogged full of flux core dust. So what we'll do is we'll blow it out, and that'll be it. So we'll blow it out. Usually I have somebody on the other end to make sure there's air going through, but I don't have anybody here today, so I'm just going to assume that it's happening. So we'll blow her out. Alright, so here we are, we're about to blow the flux core dust, or the imaginary flux core dust, out of this liner that I broke taking out. I didn't have a new one. I looked for a new one, but I don't have one, so I guess that all, if it isn't broke, don't fix it thing comes into mind. But anyways, so they put it into a compressed air source. And like I said, have somebody on the other end to make sure that the air is going through. You can feel any air, and it's just a little bit, then you know it's cleaned out. So just have somebody hold the other end. Make sure there's air coming out, you should be good. So that's all we got for this week. Kind of a liner, understand how to take it out and put it back in. It's essential for big machine maintenance. So if you don't know how to do that, then go practice. Get a machine and practice up. So that's all I got for this week. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to TV World. We'll see you next week.